We start out with thinly pounded chicken breast, and actually we are going to use pounded, skinless, boneless chicken breast for 2 of our recipes tonight, and they're gonna be completely different, and it just shows you how versatile chicken is. So one of the things people are intimidated about is pounding chicken breast, and it is just so simple.
I was gonna say, that's the one thing that doesn't intimidate me, is I look forward to it, but there's a particular way to do it, right? Because you don't want to overdo it.
No, you want to get them pounded to about, you know, 1/4 of an inch thick. I like to use a meat mallet or the bottom side of a small saucepan, and I like to actually avoid the little pointy parts of the mallet. I use the side, so I put a piece of saran wrap on top. Of course, you use a meat-safe board, like a plastic board, and then you just simply start pounding from the thickest part of the chicken breast, and you pound outwards until you get a nice, even consistency. And I'm just gonna show you one. We've got some in the pan here already going.
And so what thickness are you looking for? About?
Yeah, about a 1/4 inch.
1/4 inch, okay,
yeah.
1/4 inch.
And there's a couple reasons that we pound chicken breasts. One, they cook really quickly because they're nice and thin. And the second reason is there's a lot of surface area to absorb all the delicious sauces or coatings or whatever we might be doing with them.
Flavors.
The flavor just,
Got it.
There's so much surface area to absorb that flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got our 5 pounded chicken breast here. You can use 4 or 5 depending on the size. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper on top, so we can do that. So you just start out with a little bit of oil in a pan. Thank you, Des.
You're welcome.
And I think we've got these beautifully going. They're sizzling nicely, and that's all you want. You want to brown them for about 5 minutes per side.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have you do a really important job for me.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got all these nice little brown bits in the bottom of the pan here. We love that. I'm going to have you actually take those chicken breasts out, and I'm going to have you put them in a container and just keep them warm for me. And then I'm going to show you how we build this fabulous, delicious, citrusy piccata sauce.
Okay, so they're not totally done yet, but they were going to finish cooking up once we get the sauce going, right?
And they're pretty close to being cooked.
Okay.
And that's one of the nice things too about pounding chicken breasts thin is that they cook quickly.
Okay, and I should tent this for you, perhaps?
Sure, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you. Excellent, okay. So what I'm gonna do now, Des, is I'm gonna hand those back because you'll need those later. I'm gonna add just a little more oil to our recipe. You can use about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then I am gonna add 1 shallot, finely chopped. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get you to start stirring this for me, because look how beautifully it's brown.
Delighted.
Thank you. We've got about 2 cloves of garlic. So a lot of people don't know how to use shallots or why to choose them over onions. Well, they're really interesting. They're kind of like a cross between an onion and a garlic, and they are a little bit sweet, so very, very beautiful flavor from them. But you can just use a sweet onion.
Yeah.
And then we've got a teaspoon of our Dijon mustard. Okay.
Now what?
That looks just beautiful. So now I'm adding 1.5 cups of chicken broth. You can always do 1 cup of chicken broth and 1/2 cup of white wine. And here comes the citrusy flavor. So I love to use fresh lemon juice, a tablespoon.
Yeah.
And then guess what? The zest of a whole lemon goes into this recipe.
Well, that was the thing about it when I had it. It was like just the sort of piercing flavor of the lemon was so delectable.
Yeah, very intense, beautiful lemon, citrusy flavor.
Love it.
Okay, and so what gives this its richness is we had 2 tablespoons of butter.
Butter.
Let that melt.
Butter. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'll just turn things back over to the expert.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this is looking great. I'm going to turn this up a little bit first. So this looks quite liquidy and saucy. What we would do, Des, is we would let this reduce. It takes about 5 minutes, and the sauce thickens up and the butter melts. And then our last 2 wonderful ingredients that just bring this whole piccata sauce together are 2 tablespoons of capers, and then my favorite ingredient, 1.5 teaspoons of fresh thyme. And we just get that simmering, and then we just bring those beautiful pounded cooked chicken breasts back into the picture here. And we are all set.
And voila. And actually, so the first time I had chicken piccata, that was actually also the first time I had capers. It was just like my mind was just blown. It's such a wonderful flavor. And this is the easy way to do it here at home with Gina Sunderland. So we're not going to be pouring anything over top of this. This is what we would be, that's what we would be doing. But we would still need a few minutes for this to reduce.
Yeah, I mean, we can add our chicken right back in if you want.
Of course, that's what we're doing. We're not pouring it on top. See, this is why you're here, Gina. This is why you're here. You know what's going on.
You know what's going on too.
Pop it back in there?
You're my chief helper. Yeah. So this sauce would thicken, and it would reduce, And it's just a beautiful, beautiful way to serve chicken, and it can be done just this quickly. So 5 more minutes, Des, and we would be enjoying a fabulous chicken piccata dinner together.
That's all there is to it. Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
So those are gonna soak up the flavor. So we're gonna come back in just a second with recipe number 2, which is our oven-baked chicken parmigiana.
Mm-hmm. Yes? Absolutely divine and an Italian classic.
Awesome. We'll be right back on Great Taste.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by the Government of Canada and Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership.